Great. I think we can start. Sapna, maybe we can do a reminder message on the group. People can keep joining in.
Yes, I reminded the team.
Great, great, great. So, Bharat, thank you so much. Welcome, to this session. We have 9 very exciting, businesses as part of the cohort, right? So, like, our focus is D2C, consumer internet, and D2C enablement, right? So, uh, we have 6 consumer brands, like essentially which are like D2C brands. We have, and this is across fashion, food, oral care, aromatherapy, right? So across different spaces, we have 2 consumer internet companies. One is a travel company, and one is a company which sells tractors, through their own stores. And then we have a couple of D2C enablement brands. So we have one company which does influencer marketing for brands at scale, like it's a full stack influencer marketing platform, and we have another company which is a single sign-on for D2C brands to help reduce CAC and essentially improve loyalty and experience. Right.
Yeah.
So majorly across the consumer ecosystem, right? So very excited uh, to learn from you in how you scale lifelong, how you build such an amazing brand, how you scaled on marketplaces. I think like this time would be like really invaluable for a lot of us.
Thank you, Karan, for having me. I hope it is. So let's do this. Let's start with. So I don't have a fancy presentation to give. Let's start. I'll give you a 5 minute on lifelong to give you context on what I'm going to say and where I'm coming from. Would love to go around the room and gather some questions because Saturday सुबह सब आए हैं. It should be helpful.
Yeah.
मोनोलॉग सुनने के लिए YouTube है. So if we can make it interactive, if people have specific questions that I can answer, that's I think most useful. And then I can go through the basics of marketplaces, what we've learned in the last 5-6 years. Again, caveat is I don't think I'm an expert. Whatever I've learned is mostly been hit and try for the last 7-8 years, but I think we've created a playbook for ourselves now that works for us. And if anybody here can learn from that and grow their business, nothing like it. So on lifelong first, so we're a digital first brand. I used to say D2C, but we are marketplace heavy now. A digital first brand started 7.5 years back now. Grown across 2 large categories: home and kitchen and health and fitness. Your platform heavy: Amazon, Flipkart, quick commerce, every platform that exists. I am a very pro platform person because Indians, their DNA, love to compare, love to shop around before they make the purchase. They love going to malls and to marketplaces. And I think it's the lowest hanging fruit in terms of traffic. So I'm generally marketplace heavy, especially in the categories we exist in where there is generally low repeat buys. And people do like to compare electronics before making the purchase. While traffic is generally relatively low hanging, I would say middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel in terms of intent. Conversions are harder because you're in a cutthroat marketplace where every brand is trying to get the same customer. So a lot of the work we do is around conversion and how to improve conversion and how to have better conversion than competition, which I'll share. Before I take questions and what people really want answered, the title of this presentation was hacking marketplaces. The bad news is that there's no real hack. If there was, everybody would know it. I think it's consistently getting the inputs right to create an output that's meaningful. A lot of, especially Amazon, is designed to provide better CX to end customers. That's the holy grail that they live with. And so if you consistently do that for your customers, you'll eventually do 8 out of 10 hacks automatically. Because Amazon, the system developed the way that, at every point they want to provide a better experience to the customer. That said, obviously at every input you can do 5, 10, 20% extra, which people call hack or people call strategy and whatever word you want to give it, which I can share whatever we've learned over the years. what is hard, and I think generally, correct me if I'm wrong, this group is generally relatively early stage, is making money off marketplaces. I think selling on marketplaces is still getting relatively easier, but making money on marketplaces is the hard part. My personal belief is, especially for the D2C brands here, is that you have to have an eye on how will you make money in the short to medium term when you start marketplaces, because marketplaces can be a very cash 22. Once you start selling, you don't want to degrow after that when you want to start making money. So if you do it more sustainably, I've seen more successful examples around me. I haven't really, actually, I don't even know one example where you go crazy scale, lose a ton of money on marketplace, and then say, "Mera CAC ho gaya, now I'll milk the same customer later." होता नहीं है ऐसा. You have to win every customer. Next time when the customer comes, he's again comparing. So the CAC lifetime value doesn't really work on marketplace. Again, for consumable brands, it's slightly better, but for brands like us, I think getting your contribution margin on every product is what I believe in. Again, that's not the only way to do it. We know brands who burn money for a while on marketplaces also, but that's how I think we should be done. The other thing that as I go along this, are a lot of it will work in your context. Some will, some won't. The the clever thing is to continue to adapt. Amazon is like a multivariate regression, both Flipkart and Amazon. Like there are 100 inputs you can change to get to an output. Some will work for your brand, some won't. Don't get married to your decisions. Change fast. Look at the data. There's a ton of data available. Every decision can be measured against data. See what's working for you. Eventually, you have to find the best path for your product, your customer. Where कितनी marketing लगती है, क्या best supply chain आपके लिए work करती है, what is the best cash cycle you want to work in, what is the margin practically you can make of this. And once you get those dots in line, post that, try and milk that as much as possible is the general philosophy we live with. So that's a quick background on how we run marketplaces. Before I go into depth, would love to go around the room quickly, just take down some questions I can answer. किसी के लिए तो helpful हो ये Saturday morning. So let's do that in whichever order. Yeah.
Tanya, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi Bharat, I'm a big fan, and in fact, I realized after Karan had your podcast that we have some lifelong yoga mats which we've been using every day. So yeah, like your
And
product really has amazing.
I'm sorry, just to cut you short. I realized, like since Tanya mentioned the podcast, I got a message from somebody that they saw saw a podcast and cracked an interview with you, and they're now working in your team.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Sorry.
So
I want to know who that is, though.
Yeah, I'll tell you later.
yes, and yeah, like I love the fact that your market penetration is so great. I mean, unknowingly, I have yoga mats from your brand in my house, so I feel like ultimately that's how your product should be. So, coming to my question, Bharat. So when Keller and I started Zoe, we did not focus on marketplaces at all. We were majorly into our own website. But now I'm starting a brand called Mama Life. We are a protein supplements brand for postpartum moms, and I want to build it on Amazon and Flipkart and JioMart. But like it's a completely uncharted territory for me. So would like to hear from you that what should my strategy be, like in terms of how I can start on these platforms. Like I'm literally at day zero, so just how to begin kind of a thing would help.
Yeah, perfect. I'll start there
Mhm.
on that. Let's take the question first and I'll try and answer right through. Anybody else?
Manisha,
Hi, Bharat.
Sarah, yeah. Sarah,
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, so hi, my question is how important is it to get listed in different centers across, for Amazon? Like if we are selling through FB only out of Delhi and we see traction from the Maharashtra market. So how important is it to get listed, and send our products to that center for Amazon? One is this, and second is how to make money on Amazon because of the amount that they charge. I mean, with everything included, it comes to around 44%, which is really high. So what's the best strategy for that?
What category are you in?
We're in the aromatherapy category, so we have a range of different products. So they're all in different home decor, home aroma, that kind of categories.
Perfect. So I've taken that down. I have answers to both. One is an easy one is a hard one. Ravi, you want to go next?
Yeah, hi Bharat. So my question is, so first of all, I introduce myself. So I'm Ravi. I'm the co-founder of Habits. Habits is a new age oral beauty brand, in which we've specifically focused on teeth whitening as a sector. So it's been an year that we have launched Habits, and we were Amazon heavy on Amazon on the front in the initial days. So I need to understand how should we get Amazon reviews organically, because we have understood that reviews matters a lot in the buying decision. And if we are not getting that organic reviews, can we do the paid reviews also? Will it hamper our brand or the page or what? I just need to understand this bit, please.
Yeah, I'll answer that as I go through. Now I'm in hindsight thinking I should answer parallelly, but okay, let's take one set of questions first and then we'll get back.
Yeah.
Hi, Bharat.
Yeah.
Big fan of your brand and the reach that you've built on Amazon. I think we've met a couple of times as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the founder of Fit Feast. We are into protein snacks as well. We're trying to build India's largest tasty protein brand. And generally, so far in the last couple of years, we've really focused more on D2C, and we've spent like decent amount on advertising. I want to understand what's the difference in the return on ad spend you should expect when you're spending on Amazon versus when you're spending on D2C. Because when you're spending on Amazon, you're paying 20-25% commissions also. So is there any benchmark of difference in ROAS that you should expect, and any specific strategies that you can implement to improve your ROAS on marketplaces?
Yeah. So I'll answer the latter a little bit more. Absolute ROAS benchmarks for protein stacks, I won't know, but I can tell you how at least we look at the ROAS D2C versus and how you should optimize as much on Amazon as possible. That I can share.
Sure.
Also, just to add on to Aditya's question, Bharat, like if you're starting out on Amazon and you don't know much about Amazon ads, right? So like what kind of ads to run? Like if you can just maybe cover that as well. Like you want to look at branded ads, display ads, keyword ads, like right. So essentially, like what are some of the best type of ads that we can run, and how much percentage of revenue should we spend on ads? If you can discuss that as well.
Perfect. Yeah.
You can go ahead.
I think we have one more hand up. Yeah.
I think my question is broadly around inventory planning because we're in fashion, by the way. We're a women's formal, semi-formal wear brand. And we were planning to go on Myntra, Nykaa, etc. Because we are in D2C, our inventory logics and planning is completely different as compared to when it comes to marketplaces. But when you first enter, what kind of inventory we should go ahead with? Like, how do we plan it? Because there's like zero experience around it. So that'll be helpful.
And Bharat has this very famous quote that excess inventory can kill a business. So I think it will be a very relevant answer.
Correct. And I think it leads into my favorite topic. I think money on marketplaces are made in supply chains, and so inventory planning is a big part of that. So cool. So let me try and go through the initial portion and try and answer this first set of questions. Let's try and make it as interactive as possible. Wherever you have questions you want me to go deeper, I'm more than happy to wherever I can help. Okay. So to Tanya's question first, and day zero on Amazon or Flipkart, and how we look at these marketplaces. So something we calculate. So everything by is what we, or like actually the internet calls basic retail maths. It's a very simple formula, and everything that you do on the marketplaces drives back into this formula. So traffic into CTR creates a GV called a glance view. People getting to your product page, into conversion, into average order value with your sale. So everything that you do is is one of these four inputs. Either driving more traffic, is either doing things that give you better CTR, is either doing things that give you better conversion or a better price point. If every element you change in your strategy, both tactically and at high level, you can measure success in one of these four parameters, then you know you are moving in the right direction. Like I said, initially the problem comes where there is, because there are so many inputs you're changing in parallel, it gets hard to know कि क्या चल रहा है क्या नहीं चल रहा. In my opinion, you have to make marketplaces fairly objective in terms of how you judge your inputs. Otherwise, तुक्के मारने से it can work, but you are reducing your own chances. So every input you change, you day zero create a blank Excel sheet which says on every product, this is my traffic, this is my CTR, this is my conversion rate, and this is my average order value. And then everything that you do, you will over a week, you will see the change in that parameter, and you will know कि यार ये price point चल रहा है, और या फिर ये traffic का source चल रहा है मेरे लिए, या ये ad group work कर रहा है, ये नहीं work कर रहा. Basis that you know कि चलो ये parameter set हो गया. Now let's pick up another parameter and working. If you run it like an analytics business, your chances of success, at least in more commoditized categories, go higher, and generally most categories are very commoditized, right? So that's how we look at it. Again, I will, for everybody's benefit, I will put it here, and we actually live by this, swear by this. This is what we do on a day-to-day basis. We have now developed decent amount of in-house tools to just track change on any parameter on these 4 elements. And once you start doing that, then you're pretty much set. Traffic into your conversion is your sale, and your order value is your dollar value of sale. Okay, now I'll go deeper into still continuing our day zero question, right? On how do you optimize for these? Before going there, and to answer your question on like day zero, where all should you go?
Yeah.
Marketplaces are very high intent traffic.
Yeah.
My opinion is, unless there is a certain marketplace that doesn't go with your brand value that you stand with, you should go everywhere.
Okay.
It's the more people you reach, it's easier, fast day zero to make your business. It's also a good place to test real PMF on day zero. If you get very high GVs and very low conversion, you know that something is not working. Either your product is not working or your price is not working. You don't have PMF if you don't have organic conversion. So the more places you go, it's better. Now again, I understand the bandwidth constraints day zero. My preference generally is Amazon, Flipkart, quick commerce right now. If you these three have very different dynamics of working.
Yes.
And if you crack two out of three, I think you're good. And I'll go one level deeper into different dynamics. So Amazon is more like a tech company. If you change your input on these parameters, you will figure what's working for you, what's not. Flipkart, on the other hand, is a retailer. It works in a more merchandiser format where you sit at the table with a buyer. You will figure out from his knowledge, he's convinced on your product or no. Again, I tell a lot of people, if some entrepreneurs are fantastic salespeople, I say you start Flipkart, because if you can sell your story to the Flipkart category manager, you will get a 0 to 1 like none other. So I personally like that. It's a merchandiser buyer-driven platform, and so your 0 to 1s become relatively easier. Again, you'll know your PMF faster and at a lower cost if you can do that. Third is quick commerce. Quick commerce I like because it's playing into the bar on conversion is lower. It's their TG, at least currently, is the more affluent high income TG that we work with. For some reason, they've cracked the formula where people are buying all sorts of non-grocery on quick commerce as well. And I think there it's more forgiving because you're selling to a more fluent customer. So it's more forgiving that you'll get better conversion rates. It's less forgiving because you'll get very critical product feedback. So again, a great place to do 0 to 1. And till now, we haven't seen a real difference between, say, a Zepto or a Blinkit. But in terms of how you get feedback, but I think these are fantastic marketplaces to go to. We are much heavier right now on Blinkit as a brand. I think it's working really well for us. They're also fantastic partners in doing experiments in small pockets. So you can test out a product in UP, you can test out a product in Maharashtra, you can test out a product in Delhi if you want to do small inventory, small tests. So that's my thought on which marketplace you should go with. The other question people generally have on the 0 to 1 is, should we go 3P or 1P marketplace model or direct retail model? Again, significant pros and cons of both, and you should decide basis your product, your business model. So advantages of a 1P business model is that you get tighter control, inventory control, uh, reconciliation and finance problems are significantly lower. Like you know where you stand on day one, you know your margins on day one. You get a vendor manager on the other end who will share his learning of the category with you, so you get a good grasp of competitive landscape. The other side is the marketplace model on 3P, where it's a lot more control. Then you only use Amazon, Flipkart literally as a platform, so you have full control on pricing. But you have to run an extremely tight supply chain to actually make money here, because return rates are generally higher. Customer satisfaction is hard to make, because since you are running your own supply chain, you have to make sure you're distributed well. Somebody asks a question on how many warehouses, Tara asked the question on different centers, or how many warehouses that you need to go to. Creating good distribution again is extremely important. So we see conversion rates change up to 30% if you are same day, next day delivered. Instant gratification is a form of old school retail, jo sabko chahiye, right? If I'm buying up, so there is one which is a need based. I want a power bank delivered tomorrow because I'm traveling. वो customers तो वैसे ही out हो गई. However, if I'm choosing between two products and I'm confused, and marketplace is a choice driven world, if I'm getting a product same day, next day versus delivered in 6 days, 30% difference in conversion if it's delivered same day, next day. So being across multiple warehouses is extremely, extremely important after you touch a certain scale. Again, everything has the other side to it. The other side is you end up with more inventory in the system. So I would do it after PMF. Pre-PMF, I am very stingy on spending any money on anything, because once you know you have decent level of PMF, then you can go deeper on putting in everywhere else. The hack here is, I think now it's no more a hack. Actually, most people use it. It's the IST program from Amazon. You need GST registrations in every state, obviously, but you don't have to spend money on logistics. You can send your inventory to one warehouse, pay Amazon to distribute it across the 20 warehouses. So if you're a new brand, like for us at Lifelong, now we have enough scale where we can send full truckloads to 20 warehouses. But if it's a newer brand, where you can't afford to send full truckloads to 20 warehouses, you will end up spending crazy amounts of money on supply chain. You can send it to one warehouse, pay Amazon to distribute that inventory across the 10, 12, 15 warehouses. What you need is GST registrations, but at least you don't need to run the manual supply chain of doing that. It's a very quick way of using the same inventory distributed across multiple warehouses. You will see your conversion rates. For us, there is 30% change in conversion rates, and you'll see that in your brands as well.
This is the 1P model with Amazon, where they control the inventory.
Works both 1P and 3P current. It's called, I don't know what the full form of IXT is, but it's a cross-docking program where you can give your inventory into one warehouse and they will distribute it for you across.
Got it. And is this available like for new brands as well?
In most cases, yes. If not, try and get an account manager. That's your way into most programs. Try and get an account manager, and your account manager is incentivized to then grow your sale. And so they will figure out a way to get you to cross-talk.
And like how do you basically as a noob question, right? But how do you get an account manager on Amazon? Like, do you need certain initial traction on your brand? Does it come later?
So traction on your brand, it will come automatically. But even if you don't want to wait till traction on your brand, so I'll give you the practical on-ground answer. Amazon को भी अच्छे sellers चाहिए, Amazon को भी अच्छे selection चाहिए. Amazon का flywheel starts at getting good products on the platform, तभी customers आएंगे, right? So they have sales team that are always on the lookout for good selection, good products. You have to find an account manager in your network, and most of us have now big enough network that you'll find a friend at Amazon. If somebody needs help, you can ping me. Pitching to an account manager is not hard. And it's not like pitching to a buyer where he's buying inventory of you, right? This is like account management kara do. Amazon also has a paid program. Again, I'm not a big fan of paid programs very early in your journey, but अगर आप थोड़ी सी भी story account management team को बेच दोगे, you will most likely get an account manager, and they will help you navigate these programs. But try and get into IXP as quickly as possible. Again, I'm going in with the caveat that you'll need multi-state registrations, getting compliance, getting GST, making sure the GST filing across states, all of that is proper and in time. But it's a small price to pay for 30% more conversion.
Got it.
ये कलर ये ना बहुत relevant issue है भरत भाई.
Yeah.
बहुत relevant issue है. Beauty wise को भी हुआ था ये. I got him to speak with Bharat. Right, so I'll connect you with Beauty wise also.
Yeah. So getting closer to the customer is any day better. We are seeing the traction on quick commerce, right? It's for everybody to see instant gratification on retail. इसीलिए लोग दुकान पे जाते थे. If you can give that online. Again, a lot of what I say, you will see goes back to old school retail. Customer को खुश करना is eventual goal, right? So as closely you can mimic the offline behavior or offline likes and dislikes of a customer online, you will have better conversion at a macro level.
Got it. And Bharat, just to like another point on Tanya's question is, जब हम day 0 पे हैं, like what are some, you mentioned a thing on कि basics कर लो तो like you get 8 to 10 hacks, right? So what can you just also mention like what are those basics?
Yeah. So I'll go through that. Now I'll go back to the formula, which is a good structure setup to do this, right? So your first one is traffic, then CTR, then conversion. So what is traffic? Now Amazon, Flipkart separately, I'll go Amazon first. And I'm ballparking for our category, 60% around traffic is organic, which means people coming and searching for let's say this coffee mug, right? So here, a lot of the work you will do is on CTR, where people, after the generic search on the mug, how do they come to your landing page versus your competitor landing page? 40% is inorganic traffic. So let's go deep dive on organic traffic first a little bit. So 60% is organic traffic, people searching for generic keywords like mug. Your end goal, and I will go back to somebody answered the question, how do you make money on marketplaces? Your end goal is to land on page 1. If you're on page 1, you will make money, right? Now, it's easier said than done, but eventually you have to go to one level depth on the Amazon algo to understand what gets you, what is SEO on Amazon, which is pretty much similar to generally how SEO works, but what is SEO on Amazon and how do you get ahead of it in your category to make sure you come on page 1. Like Google, fall through from page 1 to page 2, page 3 is logarithmic, is exponential. So you have to get your product on page 1. Initially, obviously, you won't be there, so you have to go deeper on ads. I'll answer your question, Karan, on what types of ads. So there are, and most people will know this here, but if you open your Amazon ads platform, you will know there is sponsored ads, sponsored product. Like there are 3 or 4 now ad tags you can do. There is nuance here on category. Sometimes if you're in a very commoditized category, bid rates on the bulk keywords, let's use this as an example. Coffee mugs will generally be very high. It's not worth bidding on a coffee mug to find your PMF. So you should start with saying ceramic coffee mugs or colorful coffee mugs or stuff which are
Low competition.
Relatively low competition, but more attuned to your product. If you are selling a very generic coffee mug, anyway, your chances of success are very low, right? So आपने जो दिमाग लगाया अपने प्रोडक्ट में कि मैं येलो कलर का बनाऊंगा बिकॉज किसी के पास नहीं है, या मैं अनब्रेकेबल बनाऊंगा, या मेरी कॉफी गर्म रहेगी, like whatever you had on your product market fit is what you're thinking is, try and go heavier on those keywords and not get pulled into bulk keywords because they are expensive. You will start bleeding money on day 1. Again, I'm answering from a very early stage perspective where you're trying to find your PMF. Once you have your PMF, you have to win the bulk keyword also because volume hai sara. But when you're finding your PMF, like Tanya, to your question on if your supplement is specific to new moms, then you want to go deeper on those keywords rather than trying to fight a generic supplement brand on वहाँ पे 70 रुपए की bid होगी, where you will never, like it's hard to even win come on page 1 versus if you're on page 1 for your more relevant ones, it should probably fit in with a 10, 15, 20 rupee bid also, maybe even.
So the word postpartum has very, very low search volumes on Google. So in this case, do you think that I should feel like discouraged that, okay, nobody's searching for it, or is it still possible for me to create a big market?
So this is an off-Amazon question. It's a question that you have to answer on if you believe that postpartum supplement, I don't know if I'm getting the category right, but if postpartum supplements is a thing that will become into a large category. I have no knowledge, to be honest, on postpartum supplements. But if you believe in the subcategory, then if I were you, your strategy also needs to be post-Amazon enough because it's a lot of top of the funnel. You have to get to new moms to tell them this is important for you and drive that. So, like very basic, it needs to be a higher gross margin product because it's top of the funnel.
Yeah.
You can survive on a 30% gross margin, even lower sometimes, which were a very low bottom of the funnel product. Like coffee mugs, for example, you can survive at 25% also.
Yeah.
You don't have to drive any traffic.
Yeah.
In your case, you will be fighting against a gym goer on supplement keywords.
Yeah.
You can't win that with the kind of volume on those keywords. You have to do a lot of, and I'm again, my first thought is you have to do a fair bit of top of the funnel, which means you have to start at a 60% plus gross margin to make sure you have the money to do it. I'm going back to making money. I think it's easier to get sucked into a 30-35% gross margin here, end up losing money. I don't know how you track back from that. मुझे तो नहीं समझ आया आज तक. So you have to set up right. You have to find your PMF at the right price point. There's no point finding PMF at 100 rupees saying है बाद में 200 का बेच लूँगा. Hard होता है. Again, nothing is impossible, but hard होता है बाद में.
Got it. Because according to my research, the market size and opportunity is huge. However, because the awareness is not there, that postpartum mom should be consuming enough protein, so the search trends are not very promising. So I guess you're right. The thing is that I need to kind of focus on the top of the funnel a lot in this case.
So, I believe in chindi frugal ways of working in a lot of ways. Like if I were you, rather than just going super top of the funnel, find partnerships. There are enough brands that are either funded or are spending a ton of money on new moms.
Yeah, correct.
It's a complementary product.
Yeah.
Share some margin with them if they believe in your story. If you have a fantastic product, like I'll tell you, we lifelong launched a baby category, right? We are selling to new moms.
Yeah.
If I really believe in your product, I'm more than happy giving my customers another product which is fantastic, and I will share some of the ad cost. I will make more margin on it. It goes to, I have a significant customer base. Like try and find these partnerships where you can induce trial. That gets you your 0 to 1. And again, I'm going back to pre-PMF. Once you have PMF, you have to stand on your own. But PMF ढूंढने के लिए बहुत पैसे चलाना is generally not the smartest thing to do.
Got it.
Okay, so going back to the first element, which was traffic, right? The other thing on organic is getting your SEO right. And I'll spend 5 minutes on this. Ask whatever question you have. I don't think anybody, YouTube will tell you differently. I don't think anybody really understands fully how the Amazon algo works. But I would encourage you to chart on YouTube. There is a lot of hacks available. Some will work, some won't work. But there is gold sitting there as a combination of the 100 videos that are there to hack Amazon algos. I'll tell you what works for
playlist है जो आपने बनाई हो.
नहीं, मैं खाली टाइम में कुछ देखता था, but I'll tell you what works for us, right? So there are 3 or 4 things that we optimize for. Again, I don't know if this is be all end all, but the 3 or 4 things that we optimize for, which help, right? I start with the lowest one, which is get your keywords right? So keyword by volume, keyword by conversion share. Again, think of what Amazon will always optimize for, better CX. So उनको चाहिए कि मैं जहाँ best customer का experience होता है उसको सबसे ऊपर लेके आऊँ, right? So use the keywords that have best conversion share. Again, there are multiple tools like DataDive, Helium that will give you a lot of this information. Find keywords that have best conversion share, add them. Find keywords that have high volume share, add them. Keyword like Google SEO, it's not just your keyword set, but your keywords across your listing. So make sure your titles have everything. Again, some people believe that the first 6-7 words on your title have the maximum impact. I know of sellers in the US that don't even put their brand name. So yeah, वो waste keyword है. पहले साथ में मुझे सारे product के keywords ही डालने हैं, मैं brand name बाद में डालूँगा. Again, I don't know if these are smart things, but if you actually change your title, look at your CTRs for a week, you will know कि आपके लिए work कर रहा है नहीं कर रहा. So it's a good experiment to do. It doesn't work for us, but it's a good experiment to do. Some people, especially 0 to 1 people, where nobody knows your brand name anyways. So it's easier to use the first 7 as keywords to do this. Again, you guys know this, everything gets crawled. So your images, your metadata on your images is very important. Your category, subcategory tagging is is very important. So this is on keywords. One hack that we use on keywords is don't try and trick the system, because I think how the system works is penalties are very strong. So add a junk keyword to your listing which you think has mobile smartphones, has crazy amounts of hits, you will start seeing suppressions very quickly. So don't try and be over smart with the system also and try and add junk keywords. So relevance so there's something called Amazon semantics that you should read about. Relevance is very important. If you're selling a coffee mug, try and stay in the coffee mug world. Don't try and overhack the system and adding non-relevant keywords to it, because you'll start more suppression. So that's relevancy. The next part is on the Amazon algo is general supply chain efficiency. So customer feedback is very important, especially seller feedback is very important. Again, the hacks here is that if you have seller feedback which is delivery related, you are an FBA, you can open a ticket, get it removed. Make sure your seller ratings are right up top, because Amazon, again, customer backward will optimize SEO on good sellers. They will want to show good sellers upfront rather than bad sellers. Make sure you are faster into the customer, make sure you are prime, make sure you are FBA, make sure, to Tara's question, you are IXT, you are well distributed. Amazon will optimize for products getting delivered same day next day, or products getting delivered after 2 days. This is all SEO, right? It seems like supply chain question, but this all boils down to on page 1. And if you're on page 1, you make money. So it's a vicious cycle. So you have to optimize to get to page 1. Getting in stock is super important. If you're not in stock, you don't sell anyways. But the problem with in stock rates is that if you go out of stock, you kill all of the work that you've done on SEO also. So you have to start at day 0 again. So it's not just the 2%, 5% sale that you lose when you're out of stock. It's all the effort that you made to get to page 1. You end up losing. So in stock becomes super important. And the final part on this is your rating reviews. Somebody asked a question on organic ratings and fake ratings, and I'll try and answer that here. There is nothing like organic ratings, but the reality of the world is that it can get hard to get crazy amount of organic ratings. So first is, how do you increase your organic ratings? There is, both Amazon and Flipkart have guidelines on what you can do to generate more ratings. Be in the guidelines, do everything possible. Incentivize for people to write reviews. Don't incentivize for writing good reviews, that's outside policy. But incentivize people to, if you're confident on your product, and incentivize people to write reviews. Use the Seller Center. You can shoot out emails from Seller Center requesting reviews. Like, do everything in your capacity possible. If you're doing everything, generally your review rates won't be that bad. Again, there is category nuance to it. Some categories people just don't write reviews. Some categories, Indian, it's also a cultural nuance to it. Indian people write reviews, more critical reviews than if you see Amazon.com or any of the global marketplaces. But do everything in your capacity to get good reviews. I have a contra view on paid reviews. I don't think that works, but that's not the popular street opinion. If you go out and ask 10 founders, most people will tell you, kuch to chal jata hai. So getting 2-3 reviews in your office is, I don't consider as fake reviews also. That मतलब मैं मना भी कर दूंगा ना टीम को, तो लोग अपने प्रोडक्ट जो लॉन्च करा उसको इतना प्यार होता है, वो एक आध रिव्यू डाल देगा. I don't think that moves the needle also. To get agencies, systematic way to write fake reviews is a failed thing in my opinion. Sooner or later, Amazon will figure it out. You will start suppressing your product. Like, you can't create a large sustainable business. आप एक product hack कर लोगे कहीं पे, वो अलग बात है. But you can't. हमने 4 साल पहले try किया था ये, हमारा account ही वो हो गया था. Correct. So, मतलब you are trying to hack Amazon. उनके पास यार hundreds, thousands of engineers हैं जो यही सोच रहे हैं कि ये कैसे रोके. If we think we are smarter than the 100,000 engineers they've hired in last 20 years trying to build a system. But again, that ऐसा नहीं है कि होता नहीं है. you will find agencies that will say यार मैं fool proof करा दूंगा, मैं पक्का करा दूंगा, मैं लिखवा दूंगा, but easy नहीं है. I don't think you can build a big business of it. I don't think that you can sustainably fool the customer and sell products to the customer. If you're honest to the customer, they will come back and buy again. It might not be a fantastic day zero 500 unit, but you'll get there in 3 months maybe. So that's the approach we use.
Bharat, wanted to discuss another hack, which a couple of founders had shared. So, जैसे अगर आप एक नया product launch कर रहे हो या फिर आप एक नया brand launch कर रहे हो, right? So, for a few days, you disable the ordering on your website for that product. And let's say, या तो अगर आपका नया ब्रांड है आपने वेबसाइट लॉन्च ही नहीं करी, आपने इसको Amazon फर्स्ट ही लॉन्च किया, या फिर अगर एग्जिस्टिंग ब्रांड है तो उस प्रोडक्ट को आपने Amazon प्रोडक्ट पे वो कर दिया. So that people, the only option that people have to order the product is from your Amazon listing, which kind of initially starts the flywheel. I mean, do you recommend that?
100%. So anything, I go back to SEO, right? Anything that drives up traffic and conversion initially is great. तो आपको SEO उसकी गुडनेस तो मिलेगी. जितना ज्यादा बेचोगे उतना ज्यादा Amazon का सिस्टम सीखेगा कि आपका, या Flipkart का सिस्टम सीखेगा कि आप कस्टमर वांट योर प्रोडक्ट, उतनी जल्दी वो पेज 1 पे आएगा, उतनी जल्दी प्रॉफिटेबल होगा. So
D2C तो आप कभी भी क्रैक कर सकते हो. Like you can always crack it 6 months later, 2 months, years later as well. But Amazon एक बार आपने initially flywheel बना दिया, so that's a compounding source of revenue that you always get.
100%. I'm a big fan. Again, depends on the product category. You should do that. The only caveat so actually, first the good part is most people have launch budgets. Good or for bad, most people have launch budgets even pre-PMF. So वो launch budget आपको कहाँ खर्चना है वो important है. If I'm selling, let's say, organic coffee, which I want my customer to buy every time, I would still think of D2C also, because you can interact with the customer a lot more purely on your website. If I am selling a coffee mug, I think I would go Amazon first, because low hanging fruit, I would spend all my money there, try and come on page 1 if I can. If I'm confident that I've created a coffee mug that doesn't exist in the market, I would get that. So you have to give it some category nuance, but it's a good idea.
Actually, launch budget वाला concept भी अच्छा है, because every brand has 10-15 lakhs at least budget to start with. उसको हम content पे डाल देते हैं, website पे डाल देते हैं. If we just spend that money on Amazon ads and Amazon listings, so वहीं से like you'll start getting product market fit and you'll be closer to customer. You'll see कितने orders आ रहे हैं. Like
I agree though. मतलब again unpopular thought है, मैं big fan नहीं हूँ launch budget का, क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि pre PMF पैसे खर्चना criminal है. तो if you know your product is working, then 100% go all out on your launch budget. But to just get married with your product because you think यार मैंने सबसे sexy product बना दिया world में, अब ये सब खरीद लेंगे, और you spend 20 lakh rupees out of your 1 crore budget on launch is risky. We have 2 questions. Tara?
I want to, so sorry, am I
Go
ahead.
I would want to say, when you said you want to be for the reviews, we have to incentivize customer. Can you give me some examples about how to incentivize that?
So
That's my question as well. I'm sorry. How do you incentivize? Because I've seen a lot of stuff that I order from Amazon. I get cards in these boxes, saying that if you give us a review, we'll give you 100 rupee cash back and stuff like that. But that's against the guidelines of Amazon. So how do you incentivize?
So देखो 0 to 1 के लिए सब कुछ हैक करना पड़ता है. आप after a certain scale, if you put 100 rupee coupon incentivization on it, you will get caught, you will get blocked. There is no question. आप अगर दिन के 10 यूनिट बेच रहे हो और आप किसी के रेडार पे नहीं हो, you want your first 10 reviews, I think you should try everything. It's not the right thing to say, but I think you should try everything. ठीक है? But Ravi, to your question, there are right ways to do this also. It's slower. Don't send the card. Say we will give extended warranty. I don't know, but use your language carefully. Say please review us. Don't say give us right review, good review. Don't say give us 5-star review. All of that is anti-policy. So Amazon policy documents are like legal documents. You have to find your way which is correct. ठीक है? अगर आप बोल रहे हो कि please हमें review कर दो good or bad, I think that's within policy. So if you're confident on your product, और मैं आपको बताऊं, ह्यूमन साइकोलॉजी देखो उसके पीछे. अगर आप किसी को बोल रहे हो कि मैं आपको वारंटी दे दूंगा, आप मेरे लिए रिव्यू लिख दो, नॉट गुड नॉट बैड बट रिव्यू लिख दो. कोई इंडियन आदमी आके बैड रिव्यू नहीं लिखने वाला एक्सटेंडेड वारंटी लेने के लिए. सो प्ले ऑन दीज सटल थिंग्स, राइट? इफ समबडी wants to write a bad review, is anyway writing. So but try and be within policy after a certain scale. उससे पहले यार जो कर सकते हो करो. अपने
In this, to add to this, a lot of brands send this message saying, please support us in our journey. Your little review will make a big contribution to us. So maybe इस तरह के senti messages से आप positive ही लिखोगे if you
correct.
go ahead and write.
Yeah, and it's well within, it's a fantastic idea, right? Well within policy. कोई emotion use करना तो policy के बाहर है नहीं.
Yeah.
Right. अच्छा, एक और चीज था, so we used to run some ads on Telegram also. So वो certain 1 या 2 दिन में वो Telegram में ad चलता था, उस time period के लिए we used to reduce the price on our Amazon. So is it good कि हम 1 महीना कुछ प्राइस नहीं करते, फिर 2 दिन के लिए प्राइस चेंज कर देते, फिर अगेन वी चेंज द प्राइस? तो वो प्राइस चेंज इतना फ्रीक्वेंट करने से कुछ इश्यू तो नहीं होता है?
करो, use the Excel, use your formula on traffic into CTR into conversion, see फर्क पड़ता है कि मुझे नहीं पता आपकी कैटेगरी फर्क पड़ेगा कि नहीं, पर आप 4 बार ही करोगे, डेटा विल टेल यू फर्क पड़ रहा है कि नहीं पड़ रहा. सो द ऑब्वियस आंसर इज किसी कैटेगरी में फर्क पड़ता है, where people get used to buying at the lower price. किसी कैटेगरी में कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. जहाँ डील डे पे सेल हो जाती है, नॉन डील डेज पे अगर आपके 10 यूनिट्स बिकते हैं, डील डे जब प्राइस करते हो तो 20 यूनिट बिक जाते हैं, पर आपके 10 यूनिट्स फिर भी ऑर्गेनिकली बिकते रहते हैं. So you have to do it 3-4 times across 3 months and you will know कि आपका, and you will also know क्या चेंज होता है, कन्वर्जन रेट बेटर होता है कि ट्रैफिक बेटर होता है. आपको भी तो ये नहीं पता कि, आई एम अज्यूमिंग आपको ये नहीं पता कि टेलीग्राम पे डालने पे मोर ट्रैफिक आने से सेल बढ़ रही है कि एक्चुअली प्राइस कम करने से सेल बढ़ रही है.
Right, we can't reduce.
Correct. So you have to experiment both sides. टेलीग्राम पे ट्रैफिक डालो बिना प्राइस चेंज करे, you will know कि ट्रैफिक इज योर ड्राइवर. टेलीग्राम से ट्रैफिक बिना डाले प्राइस रिड्यूस करो, यू विल नो इफ प्राइस इज योर ड्राइवर एंड यू विल नो द कंबाइंड इफेक्ट आल्सो. आपको अपनी जर्नी ढूंढनी है. अगर कंबाइंड इफेक्ट 10x है तो फिर वंस करो अपना कंबाइंड इफेक्ट एंड इट वर्क्स.
इट कम्स डाउन की पूरा स्टैट्स निकालो कि कहां पे कितना आ रहा है.
अगेन, success on Amazon and Flipkart and eventually quick commerce is an analytics game. You have to be very clear on what is working for you, what is not, to make money. बेचना आसान है पर पैसे कमाना मुश्किल है. So that's where it eventually comes down to.
कभी-कभी लगता है कि हमने एड्स में इतना स्पेंड कर दिया था तो आया ही नहीं हमारे पास.
Correct. So we have 10 minutes. I'm quickly going to 60% organic. I'm going back to the traffic wala part. 40% paid है. And paid has multiple things. So एक pure CPC है, which we talked about a little bit on Amazon ads. Again, I said use tail keywords, use prod comparison. So अगर एक bestseller mug है और उसमें मैंने कुछ improve कर दिया, let's say bestseller mug leak करते हैं, मैंने non leak बना दिया. Now instead of bidding on your search page, bid on the bestseller mug का product page. कि वहाँ पे बंदा रिव्यू पढ़ रहा है कि इसमें लीक होता है, your ad should say leak proof mug. And so you will get good traction. बहुत logical है. So instead of trying to win the base keyword, win on the product page. So you have to know your product very well to know कि हम where you will be successful in which element of the ad journey you really want to play. To Tanya's brand, for example, I would play in the product video segment because अभी education ही need है. तो अगर बच्चा प्रैम खरीद रहा है, क्रिप खरीद रहा है या बेबी पॉटी खरीद रहा है, I would throw my ad there. Versus in a mug example, I would show it in the bestseller का page. I won't even bid for 120 रुपए का search bid. I would bid on the product to make sure कि मैंने leak solve करा है सिर्फ उतना सा. So you have to be very smart on where you're money. Otherwise, अभी what you said वही होता है कि ad के spend is more than बैंक में पैसे कितने आते हैं at the end of the month. So the other thing is use affiliates a lot. I think more and more now it's starting to work, and it's a last 2-3 year phenomena, but it's starting to work. You talked about Telegram as a source of driving traffic. That's great, but depending on the category, for some people Instagram works, for some people Google, YouTube works really well. Telegram is a hacky way. There are Telegram groups that are full of retailers. So if you have a product which is retail heavy, and this is a good example again, the coffee mug. दुकान पे तो बिकता ही है. कई बार क्या होता है कि रिटेलर्स को नया प्रोडक्ट मिल जाता है खरीदने के लिए, तो वो लोग आ जाते हैं खरीदने के. तो you find again in affiliates, don't spray and pray. Find specific niches and try and win from there. Amazon affiliate links अच्छी चीज है बहुत यूज करने के लिए. कई जगह पे Amazon इंसेंटिवाइज करती है affiliates को. Amazon runs its own affiliate network. So affiliate.amazon.com पे जाओ, अगर आपका प्रोडक्ट फीचर हो रहा है, affiliate को ऑलरेडी कुछ पैसे मिल रहे हैं उसमें. Same with Flipkart. To try and pick from that and get low cost of traffic on it. The other thing which is working for brands a lot is user generated content. So if you have control on your customers, try and incentivize them to make content as well. That really works really well. So again, slightly later, maybe not on 0 to 1, but slightly later that works really well. एक किसी ने कॉस्ट रिड्यूस करने के लिए बोला था, मेरे पास एक बहुत टैक्टिकल हैक है जो सबको यूज कर लेना चाहिए. Get an agency, a large agency as your billing partner. You will get 60 days of credit. Cash flow बहुत important है business में भी. I don't think we have enough time to touch on it, but cash flow बहुत important है. So get a large agency, not to run ads, but as your billing partner. आपको 60 days का credit मिल जाता है, आपको up till 5% cashback मिल जाता है. So Amazon ad बेचने के लिए agencies को obviously kickback अच्छा शायद cool word नहीं है, but incentivize commission देती है. Most agencies will share it back with you. So 5% वहाँ से वापस मिल जाता है, plus you get 60 days of credit. Especially in brands जहाँ पे 30, 40, 50% आपका ad वो है. Imagine the amount, 60 days of credit for 30, 40% of your revenue is huge. So you should definitely use it.
Interest free loan हो गया.
Correct. एकदम interest free loan हो गया for 30% of your sales.
Yeah.
In cases 40-50% जहाँ लोगों के ad spend ज़्यादा है.
भरत, like maybe like आप थोड़ा बता सकते हो कि like कि कौन सी अच्छी एजेंसीज है जिनके साथ हम काम like startups काम कर सकते हैं, like in your experience, and you know maybe like 2-3 tools also जो like you know which startups can use, जैसे like Amazon Pie and all लोग बहुत बोलते हैं, जैसे आप SEO करते हो competitors पे, so ऐसे क्या वो 2-3 tools है, resources है जो हम लोग use कर सकते हैं?
So agencies actually कोई hidden वो नहीं है, मतलब there is an agency out of Bombay called Hector Meher is the founder. They will do this for you. He's a fantastic Amazon guy. Group M की सारी agencies will give you stuff. So like most large agencies will have good contracts with Amazon. So they should be able to help you. And in my opinion, most brands, I don't think they'll ever say कि अपनी brand छोटा है और हम काम नहीं करेंगे. Agencies के लिए they still make the spread, right? अगर वो 5% आपको दे रहे हैं, उनको 6-7 मिल ही रहा होगा Amazon में. So they still make the spread on it. To your other question on tools, tools tricky है. Be careful before spending a lot of money on a lot of tools because बहुत सारा data is also confusing. If you Amazon से directly your data, the seller central, vendor central, whatever 1P 3P you use, Flipkart, quick commerce, अगर उतना data consume कर रहे हो, then you start looking at external tools. So the good one that I think Data Dive is fantastic for keyword research. Helium, Jungle Scout are the popular ones that people use. Helium में के अंदर भी बहुत सारे अब elements हैं on how to use Helium. There is a full section on new product research for people who are trying to expand categories. There is a full section on keyword research. थोड़ी से ज़्यादा glamorized है ये tools. Again, business बहुत basic है कि if you don't get your product market fit, you won't make money. These things give you 5, 7, 10% extra always, but these things are not make or break. Sometimes you know I meet early stage founders जहाँ उनको लगता है कि यार मेरे को टूल मिल गया होता है, मेरा बिजनेस बन गया होता है. ऐसे नहीं होता. कभी फोमो में मत रहना. अगर कस्टमर प्रोडक्ट खरीद रहा है, आपकी 5% सेल, 10% सेल हेल्प कर देंगे ये टूल्स सारे. Like again, there's a lot of conversation on AI right now. कि AI will change how Amazon builds. I am a big proponent. Like you want to make quick videos, you want to run customer service for AI. Like it's an enabler, but it won't make or break. You still have to find your product market fit. You want to make slightly safari videos, yes, AI will help you. You want to run better chatbots, definitely better CX, but it won't make or break your business, at least right now. I'll tell you what, the only topic that we haven't talked about that we have 4 minutes to go, which I can tell you or briefly touch on if it's interesting for anybody, I'm happy to chat again also, is just the finance of it. I think managing working capital is important. I'll touch on the topics that I had in mind. Most products I'm assuming are sourced. Some of you will be manufactured as well. Getting a grip on working capital on marketplaces is extremely, extremely important. Like Karan said, debt inventory can kill your business or excess inventory can kill your business. Gold, FMCG and negative working capital cycles हर business से possible नहीं होते, but Again, hindsight learning, we were also not fantastic at it on day zero. But I wish somebody had told me this on day zero. Day zero से अपने working capital manage करके चलो. Push your suppliers for credit on day zero. Use all Amazon, Flipkart bill discounting programs. Get to a premium seller, get paid in 7 days. वो नहीं होता तो use an agency to get bill discounting upfront. A lot of brands end up raising money for working capital, which is not a great idea. It should be non-dilutive ideally. So get a grip on your working capital on day zero if you can. It's a non-sexy way, but somebody asked this question on how do you make money on marketplaces. This is how you make money if you don't spend 15% on cost of capital. This was one. The other one was Reco and just knowing your P&L extremely well. Like there are small hacks there on all returns you can file for reimbursements. 2-3% वहां से निकल जाता है. Amazon, Flipkart 3P मॉडल में TCS करता है, TDS करता है, वो सब इनपुट मिल जाता है. Like get your finance ERP in place day zero so that ये 1-2-3% करके will add on eventually सबको 10-12-15% EBITDA business बनाना है. So if you have 4-5% sitting here, which is non-sexy, non-glamorous, you should make that. It will give you a competitive edge. And irrespective of category, even if you're a 75% gross margin business, 5% table पे छोड़ना तो किसी के लिए smart चीज नहीं है. So those were the topics I had. If there's any question I can answer in the last few minutes and more than.
इसमें भरत आपसे 1 घंटे का slot चाहिए मुझे. We want 3 of our D2C portfolios on the call to pitch to you separately. तो मुझे दे दो.
ठीक है जी.
और habits भी है. They wanted to meet you with the oral wellness one. Right. I know you also have interest in the space. So I'll pass on your number to them.
ठीक है, मेरा नंबर दे दो.
Bharat, एक last question. अगर let's say हम like as a founder, I'm looking to hire somebody for my Amazon, process. So like in the beginning, what kind of an experience should I look at from that person? Like उन्होंने क्या करा होना चाहिए, and like what is the typical salary range that you can kindly can look at for an initial level resource who can also help you with proper listing, run basic ads and all, so that you can build the process in house.
So you have to find people जिन्होंने खुद चलाया. Like it's Seller Central, Vendor Central, even Vendor Hub, Seller Hub on Flipkart are very hands-on tools. You don't want somebody जिसने oversee किया हो, because general learning करने से आती है. In private, like I said, it's a multivariate regression. There are so many things you can do. Like pricing, we haven't discussed about today. You can automate pricing. You can change pricing every day. You can change pricing based on traffic. So you need somebody who's done this at a small to medium brand is the most important criteria. Post which, general hiring things come into play, but I think that's most important from a skill perspective. जिसने let's say 30-40-50 lakh का revenue किया हो खुद चला के will have fair bit of hands-on experience doing this. Again, this is not the right group, but I encourage people who want to get into the business to do it themselves. It's unsexy, but आज seed round easier हो जाते हैं. 5-6 साल पहले नहीं होते थे. But if you do it once, you will like it. Every instance of change from Amazon or Flipkart or every hack you read about on the internet comes very intuitively to your मेरे लिए work करेगा नहीं करेगा if you run it on your own. So I think it helps.
Got it. Nimisha, we're almost on time, but we can, I think, take the last question.
Question. Hello, Bharat. I am from Habits. We are building an oral beauty brand, like Tarun mentioned. I had just one quick question. So you are also importing a lot of products from China and selling it in India. Now there is this wave in India for, make in India and all of these. So in our portfolio, there's this one product, which is a teeth whitening device, which we plan to import in the future. But the gel which will be used with the device is something that we want to build in India. So once we are pitching to investors also, now there becomes this slightly a gray area that, if you're importing from China, one, there is no USP in your product because anybody else can import and sell the same thing. Second, how do you trust the manufacturer on the quality or the workability? Thirdly, again, on the consumer end also, both these factors become very much important. So how do we navigate around this?
So 60% make in India backward integrate है, 40%, 30 to 40% हम भी import करते हैं China से. So First, on the consumer side, I think थोड़ा सा overrated है, to be honest. Consumer को अच्छा product चाहिए उसकी need के लिए.
Yeah.
A small segment who will care about made in India, made in China. I won't fret on that. I will not start setting up manufacturing or find India sources if you have a better product in China today, right? So bite the bullet on the consumer अगर कोई small segment consumer है. And this also is a trend. Sometimes there is big love for make in India, then consumers forget. Then there will be a wave where they will really want to buy make in India. I don't think you can find that. I think the answer is to live with that. The investor side is slightly more interesting. I think most investors now understand that there are certain products that you just can't make in India at the current scale.
Yeah.
On the differentiation bit is an independent discussion on where it's made. अगर आप इंडिया में बना रहे हो तो कॉपी नहीं हो सकता प्रोडक्ट, या इंडिया में बना रहे हो तो आपका सप्लायर अगर मैं जाऊंगा कल बोलूंगा कि मैं 1 लाख यूनिट खरीद लेता हूँ, मुझे नहीं बेचेंगे, मुझे यहाँ भी बेच देंगे. सो your differentiation is your business that you need to pitch independently. I don't think it's related to make in India, make in China. दोनों जगह commodity है. Can I, let's say, very successful brands, let's say Mamaearth for example, Boat for example, एक made in India, एक made in China. If I go to their manufacturer or similar manufacturing, say मेरे लिए आप sunscreen बना दो, मेरे लिए headphone बना दो वो भी देंगे. Can I beat Mamaearth or Boat tomorrow? Obviously not, right? So I think the differentiation comes from how you're pitching your business, what you're trying to do for your customer, comes from your PMF rather than कि मेरा supplier India में है China.
Okay. Thank you.
Third question on managing quality, that's very critical. और इंडिया में tactically easier होता है, आप खुद जाके देख लोगे, आप लोग QC रख लोगे. China में, I think the easiest answer is use QC agencies to begin with. मतलब it's the shortest, easiest before hiring manpower. But you should still do it. I won't sell anything to the customer which hasn't been QC'd. So you should still, it's slightly more expensive, but I think it's an investment worth doing initially.
Sure, that helps.
Great. Thank you so much, Bharat. If it's okay, can we add you to our cohort group? Maybe if there's some time, founders can kind of reach out to you and ask for some help.
Done. Perfect.
Great. I think we can take a last picture as well. If I know folks are very shy on putting the camera on a Saturday morning, but if somebody wants to, I can take the picture and somebody can post on LinkedIn and tag Bharat and all. So I think that will be super. So smile, I'll take a picture. Awesome. Thank you so much, Bharat. Thank you for the session. Very helpful, and really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Bharat.
Thank you, Bharat. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bharat.
Bharat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, Bharat, today.
Bye.